every business needs to solve a problem. Okay, so what problem are you looking to solve? What pain point are you looking to solve? For me, the pain point I'm looking to solve is I've suffered a couple of brain injuries, and so every day is a struggle. It's one of the reasons my wife is my full-time caregiver instead of off working in the dental practice. And so I need that daily support because there's really no tech out there that helps me manage all the things I need to manage on a daily basis to get through my day. So I've got a lot of brain injury friends. You know, it's kind of a nice tight-knit group. We all stick together. We talk about the problems that we have. Our spouses talk about the problems that they have with us, which is usually a long list. But what do we do to try to make it through the day? And that's really where the gap is. There's not a lot of tools out there to help us get from our wake up in the morning where we need to take our medications to doing the last thing at night. Now, you could probably cobble together about a half a dozen apps to facilitate that. The problem is when you have a brain injury, it's hard enough to manage one app, let alone 6 or 7 apps. It's just too much, and you don't remember where that app is or what you're supposed to do with it, and so it's not a functional tool. You know, maybe someone in the general population who hasn't suffered a brain injury can do that, but those that have. So when you look at the business model canvas, there's 9 squares, right? And instead of spending a dozen hours or 50 hours on a business plan, I recommend spending an hour or 2 on your business model canvas and then going out and validating every single one of those little squares. So the first thing on the business model canvas is the customer, right? If you flip through your packet, you'll see that I have a completed business model canvas, right? And what that does is I say, okay, who are my customers? And like, how am I going to serve them? So, like, what are those customer segments? Of course, the first customer segments are people with brain injuries and their spouses. And then as I talked to a bunch of people that had brain injury and talked to other people who didn't have brain injury about the solution I was looking to create, I came across another market segment that would use my app. So those that are caregivers but don't have a brain injury can also use this app. So if you have an autistic child, or if your husband or spouse has cancer, a lot of the challenges that we face as getting caregiving from our spouse with brain injury are the same for those that are caring for other ailments or other conditions. Like, I have a friend who has an injury to his right leg, but because of all the medications he's on, he has cognitive problems. And so his wife is not working, so she can take care of him and their little daughter, and she's not sure which one's more work. But so that's another customer segment. And then you talk to other people and they're like, well, and you read, like I read fervently, I read all the time. And a lot of insurance companies are looking at initiatives to improve the health of their policy owners. So that's potentially another segment, right? So I validated by discussion the first 2 population segments. And so I've talked to a lot of people in those 2 population groups, and they're super excited. Since I have a brain injury, I'm also involved with a lot of people with a lot of studies. And so I've talked to them about the research that they're doing. And there's an opportunity to automate some of those steps in the research, and using our app could do that. So the next one, you slide over to another column. It's not 2 columns, to the value proposition. Like, what value are you trying to achieve for each one of those groups? Like each of those groups has a unique value that you need to achieve for them. And you need to be aware of what that is. You got to try to define what you think it is. And so you list that value proposition there. And then the next channel, you're going back. So the first two columns that you fill out, that's called your product market fit. Those are your customers, and the value that you're looking to provide them is how you fit in that market space. And then the next column, the column between, is kind of how you're going to achieve the channels, is how are you going to reach those people? Like what ways are you going to do? Are you going to use social media? Are you going to partner with nonprofits that serve that population? Or are you going to take out Facebook ads? Are you going to have billboards? It's how you think you're going to reach your target. Like how do you reach each of those target customer segments is the channel. And then how do you manage those relationships? Once you bring somebody in, how are you going to take care of them? Do you have a customer rewards program? Do you send out an email to keep your customers engaged? Do you have a forum? Do you have an 800 number that they can call to get help when they have a problem with your product or your service? And so that is the next one at the top, customer relationship. Now we're going to go over to the left again. On the top, you have key activities. Those are the things you need to do either when you're starting your business. And the first one I think you should do is look for your domain name. Before you decide on your company name, buy a domain. Go to GoDaddy.com and just type in domains and see if they're available. If they're not available, choose a different company name. So my company is called We2Link. It's great, short. That was probably the 100th name I tried. And so I'm on GoDaddy just typing in names. And I'm like, okay, I want to connect people, and so it was like connect, and then I'm like, well, LinkedIn's kind of cool. Can I do something with link? And I'm like, connect link or people link, and then I'm like, okay, that's not working. And so I threw a number in between. I want to connect, groups of people. I want to connect 2 people to start with, right? And so you're connecting people. So it's we as a group, and it's 2 as you trying to connect 2 people together, and it's the linkage of those people. And so that's kind of how I came up with it. And We2Link.com was available, which is why I chose it. And so I spent $30 and bought 3 years worth of the domain. And then I went crazy and I bought the .net and the .org just because. It's not needed, but spend a little bit of money and secure your domain space. So now you have a company name, you have a domain. Another key task, banking. Like even if you're not going to start your company for a year, or you're super busy and you don't think you're going to start it for 2 years, go in and get a business banking account. It can be, so you're not incorporating yet, you're not going to spend that money, you're going to be a sole proprietor. Go in, create a business bank, drop $100 in the bank, and now you are a business. No need to create revenue, but now you have a banking relationship that's started, and so that the length of that relationship matters, and you now have a domain. You don't even need a website. As long as you have the domain, you're starting. And so website would be the next step, and there's a lot of places out there that you can create a free website page. So that's again on key activities. Maybe you want to add some people to your team. Another key activity. If you're going to do payment transactions online, secure transactions, that's a key activity. It's whatever you think you need to do to go from 0 to start. Those are all key activities. Like if you don't do it, you can't start, right? So if you're going to be a corporation, incorporation is a key activity. So now let's go down and go into key resources. Those are the things that you need to start the business, right? Often money is one, right? The next one's time. right? And don't undervalue time, right? You have a lot of competing things that draw your time, and if you're currently working and it's a side hustle, so you got to take time out, you got to get buy-in from your partner or your family that you're going to be doing that. So time could be a key resource. People and team could be a key resource. If you're going to be a mechanic, tools, if you're a chef, your knives, those are all key resources. And then key partners is across the last column on the top. Like, who can you partner with that can leverage their experience, or you can leverage their capability to do your business. So one of my key partners is GoDaddy, right? They manage my domain, they provide secure connections. I also use a company called Stripe to do my payment processing. Another key partner, my bank is a key partner. So who do you need to be a pillar for your company? Maybe insurance companies will be key partners. So Anytime Fitness, they're a franchise organization. If you want to start a gym, the franchise organization is a key partner. And that key partner brings a lot of things to the business. They bring an organizational structure, capabilities. And so if you're starting that gym business, that is probably your number one key partner, right? Cost. Businesses are expensive. There's things that you need to spend money on, and what are those things? People is going to be probably one of your largest costs. We've already talked about a domain. Maybe you need t-shirts, whatever. What are the costs that you need to start that business? And then the last one you think about is revenue. You don't have a business, or you don't have a successful business unless that business is making money, right? If the business doesn't make money and is never going to make money, then it's a hobby, right? It's something you love doing, you enjoy doing it, but businesses all make money. Even a nonprofit has to bring in revenue to provide support to that target population. Now, how are you going to make that money? What are the possible ways you are going to make money? What is your revenue stream? So, like, I could create an app, I can offer it for free, but there's cost in running an app, right? And so there's got to be a way for me to make money. Ads and apps are one way, premium services are another way. Premium services is one we're looking at. Potentially your partners could, if they use it for their purposes, that's a revenue stream. Like for my app, we want to enable research. And that enabling of research is a potential revenue stream. So think about those revenue streams. And when you think about revenue and you think about cost, you need to match revenue versus cost, right? And so what I recommend is creating something called a burn sheet. So it starts off with how much money you put aside. It has every month what your expenses are and what your revenue is. And when you get to zero, you're out of money. You've got to make that positive before you run out. And that will keep you on track. Is like, hey, I got to control my expenses because I don't have the money to meet.